The Force will be with you.
Always.
Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, here to give you all of the news from a galaxy far, far away, and once again to give you a Mandalorian Season 2 update. Before I get into the news guys, please may I ask you to hit like down below, to subscribe to my channel if you're new, and also please consider becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. But without further ado, let's get to today's news. We start with the Mandalorian Season 2, whereby merchandise has revealed new details about Din Djarin's past. We're only a few weeks away from the premiere of The Mandalorian Season 2, but we're also learning interesting new details through tie-in merchandise for the Star Wars series. For example, a new toy finally revealed something cool about Mando's past. The new merch comes from Hot Toys, which unveiled its awesome 1/6 scale Death Watch Mandalorian collectible figure. The character appeared in the first season of The Mandalorian during a flashback sequence, and the description of the new toy also reveals where Din Djarin is from. So this comes straight from Hot Toys Collectibles Instagram page, and it states, during a separatist attack on the settlement of Arc-Vetina, the young Din Djarin was under attack by super battle droids, but before any harm could come to the boy, a group of Death Watch Mandalorians arrived to take out the droids and rescue Din. So while a lot of you might be thinking, well, we already saw this in The Mandalorian Season 1, you're absolutely right, we did, but we finally now have a place name for where this location was. We didn't know before what it was just a flashback. Now we can identify the place as Arc-Vetina. So let me now speak to you a little bit about it. Arc-Vetina was a settlement inhabited by a number of humans. During the Clone Wars, the Confederacy of Independent Systems attacked the settlement, killing the population. The Mandalorians of Death Watch intervened in the attack, fighting back against the separatist droid forces. The young human Din Djarin was rescued by one Mandalorian warrior who is unidentified but was part of Death Watch, and was raised as a foundling in the Mandalorian Creed. All I can say is I really hope Season 2 can reveal more about Din Djarin's past. They have a lot of plot lines to go with in Season 2, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't find out too much, but little hints and glimpses really tell more of a picture than if we got it all flat out. You know, as fans we like to grapple onto little pieces of information, and that is absolutely true when it comes to Mando himself. Finding out little details about his past without revealing the whole story all at once has more of a dramatic effect, and I really like the way they did that in Season 1. So guys, as of today, it's 20 days until The Mandalorian Season 2 drops on Disney+, and before I move on to my next article, I just want to talk to you about how this channel is going to work from there on out. When every episode drops, I will be doing a full breakdown and also Easter eggs, and I will put a spoiler alert before every one of these episodes in case you don't want to be spoiled, but I imagine a lot of people who don't currently have access to Disney Plus would want to check that out, and I just want to make that clear. So every Friday you will get a video from me which will be about what happened in the episode, breakdowns, and also Easter eggs that you may have missed. It's going to be an awesome time, so like I say, please subscribe if you haven't already so you can join me on that journey. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely epic. So let's move on to our next news story, and this one is about the High Republic. This one was really fascinating to me because I think the High Republic is going to introduce new aspects of Star Wars. It's set 200 years before the events of The Phantom Menace, so of course there's going to be a lot of exciting new concepts we haven't seen in Star Wars yet. And one of these is actually lightsabers and the Force itself. And on the subject of lightsabers, there is an article about the Wookiee that we see in the High Republic promos. So this particular article from CBR states, Star Wars The High Republic's Wookiee Jedi will wield a giant and heavy lightsaber. Wookiee Jedi Padawan Bur-Yaga appears in Star Wars The High Republic, Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, and has a lightsaber to match his mighty size. The creative team behind Star Wars The High Republic, set in 232 BBY, had its own virtual panel, New York Comic Con 2020, where panelists discussed the future of Star Wars and the new characters that they had created. Charles Soule, who will kick off the transmedia series with his novel Light of the Jedi, unveiled some intriguing details about the Wookiee Jedi Padawan with a very unusual weapon. So in his own words, he states, as we have seen from Chewbacca and Wookiees that we've met in other storytelling, Wookiees are very, very strong, and a standard lightsaber in the hand of a Wookiee would be like trying to fight with a toothpick. So they do need something that's a little bit more robust, and so Bur-Yaga has a gigantic sort of two-handed lightsaber hilt that is made from materials that are meaningful to him, but it's not something that your average Jedi could probably use very effectively, even though they can be strong too. He goes on to say, we've had the opportunity in the High Republic to design all these really personal weapons for each person. That alone is kind of a Star Wars dream come true, added Soule. That's Bur-Yaga's, but whenever we had the opportunity to do something cool for a Jedi's weapon, we definitely went with it. Charles Soule also revealed how Baby Yoda perceives the Force, which is intimately linked to his culture. Most Wookiees come from the planet of Kashyyyk, which we saw in episode 3, which before the Empire took over was almost entirely covered in trees. He sees himself as a small leaf on a great tree that's part of the Great Force, that's part of the Great World, and that's all interconnected. I'm not too sure why, but this article really hypes me up a bit, and maybe it's because of nostalgia. First of all, I can't wait to see Wookiees again in the Star Wars universe, even if it is in book form at this stage. But if they turn this into films, we will see this Wookiee Jedi warrior in live action form. And secondly, it's because I grew up around about the time of The Phantom Menace's release. And that was kind of like a prequel to, you know, everything that was known about Star Wars. We haven't gone in terms of live action films before The Phantom Menace. And just like in 1999, we hadn't gone before A New Hope. This is something new and excited. It's new territory for Star Wars. It's the unknown, and that on its own makes me really hyped for the High Republic. Also, they're speaking about Wookiees with giant lightsabers. That is going to be awesome. Obviously, we know from the prequels that Yoda had a miniature lightsaber, so why not do the opposite with a giant species like Wookiees, who absolutely require a bigger lightsaber than the standard one used by humans and other human-like creatures. And now our final news story comes from Disney, and they're at it again in terms of decanonizing a lot of Star Wars content which people love. In this case, they're decanonizing Dark and Grey Jedi. And I understand that this will upset a lot of people, but I will read to you from this article. And it states, although the mainstream films have portrayed the Jedi as bound to the tenets of the light side of the Force, there may have been different factions and subsections of the Jedi. Before Disney raised many of them alongside most of the EU, two of the most popular subcategories were the Grey Jedi and the Dark Jedi. EU, of course, is the expanded universe. So what were Grey and Dark Jedi in the expanded universe? The expanded universe prior to its decanonization by Disney was a sprawling extension of the main film canon and introduced dozens of fan favourite concepts, characters, storylines and villains, many of which would be borrowed by Disney's sequel trilogy. In particular is the responsible fleshing out of the story of both the Sith and the Jedi Order, giving them both an appropriate degree of nuance and intrigue. The Jedi Order specifically has gone through several major transformations, focused on the strict adherence to their religious code. Grey Jedi can broadly be termed as a Force user who uses both the light and the dark side of the Force without being too tempted into joining the dark side. And a Dark Jedi was someone who followed the dark side but did not follow the teachings or the traditions of the Sith. So the term Dark Jedi is generally a blanket term referring to any Force user who rejected the light side of the Force and worked within the dark side without following the teachings of the Sith specifically. So to put it bluntly, Disney have decanonized these concepts. And you know what, it really bothers me when Disney decanonize Star Wars content, and it's not for the reason you might think. It's not because of like an intrusion into territory, it's kind of that. But it's mostly the point that they have no purpose in decanonizing these concepts or the expanded universe. I don't see the point. I suppose they want to rewrite ideas and concepts within Star Wars. What bothered me the most was when they decanonized the amazing novel by James Luceno called Darth Plagueis. That is my favourite piece of Star Wars literary media, that means, you know, books. And it didn't only piss me off because it's an amazing book, it's because Darth Plagueis is canon. We heard Palpatine talk about him in episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, and you know what? The book gave such an incredible backstory to how Palpatine turned into Darth Sidious, and all about Plagueis' amazing character. He is a fantastic character, and the fact that they decanonized the book, I mean, I know they didn't decanonize Darth Plagueis, but they may as well have, because that book served as a fantastic precursor to the Phantom Menace, at least from the dark side's point of view. So while I am excited for the High Republic, a part of me thinks, what are Disney gonna do that's gonna completely undermine the George Lucas legacy? And I guess the Dark and Grey Jedi thing might not matter too much, at least in the near future. Who knows the implications long term of what else they'll decanonize? But I guess until that day comes, I'll hold my tongue. So I'm Star Wars Meg, and I really hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give me a big fat like, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy.